As you all know, September 11, 2001 events in American soil and continuous terrorist attack keep many Americans and others around the world asking how such atrocities could be and done in the name of Islam.
In the capital region, the New York Amani Project attempts to bring people together in dialogue about issues concerning religion, and particularly in this case, the place of Islam in American society. Today, there are many frictions that create borders and disputes along the religious divides that we find in the world. However, at Religion Without Borders, we find that along those borders, along those separations between religions, we're trying to create outposts of conversation. Conversations that bring people together in community and communion, attempting to create understanding between people rather than opposition and dispute.
You're in danger, I'm in danger. We're at war, and this is not going to stop.
We are facing the rise of Islamo-Nazism rising all around the world. We are heading straight into a wall with the clash between Western civilization and a 7th century ideology driven by hate. And unless the West rises up today and world leaders come together and
bomb them, and bomb them again. And there's only one group that can stop this war: the Muslims themselves. Let them do the job. Let them have at it.
Insurrections. The Muslim threat to the world is not isolated. It's huge. It involves nations and millions of people.
They don't operate the way we do. You can't negotiate, you can't mediate, and you can't bargain. You can't even reason with these people. We're directed by a political correctness that is so bizarre, so disconnected from reality that it does nothing but assist our enemy in our own destruction. They can kill us, but we can't hurt their feelings? This political correctness will be the death of us. And when they want to shut us up, they call us Islamophobes. After this week's brutal terror attacks in France, hopefully everybody now gets it.
So let me ask this again. So when people talk about moderate Islam, you're saying it doesn't exist?
It doesn't exist. Hello, everyone. My name is Charmeen. I'm a sophomore at Union College, and I identify as Muslim. I consider myself a practicing Muslim. I'm pretty moderate, but obviously very practicing. I wear the scarf. In terms of who I identify with, I identify with other Muslims that also moderately practice. Like, nobody in my family really wears hijab, but when I was a few years ago in high school, I started evaluating myself, my faith, and what it meant to me a lot more. And then it was something I was much more active about from then on. But I would say, like, in general, my household, my parents, everybody really encourages you to think for yourself and choose for yourself. Living here does expose you to a few misconceptions about Islam. One thing I noticed is that whenever people talk about Islam, especially in the West, it's always about, like, two things, either, like, political affiliation or, like, political events, or it's this notion of hijab and modesty. For some reason, like, people like to reduce this idea of practicing believing Muslim women to people who simply veil, and that's not the case. There are so many women who do practice Islam, but the veil doesn't mean as much to them, or it means something else to them. And the ones that do, that's another misconception that they're somehow more backwards or more ignorant, or they're being forced to wear it. Hijab, like other aspects of religion, is something you really choose for yourself.
My name is Arsul. I'm actually from Pakistan. I moved to the US to complete my bachelor's a couple of years ago. I've been here for 2 years now. I am a junior at Union College, and I identify myself as a Muslim. I could say I was grown up in a Sunni household, but that's pretty much it. I really call myself a Muslim, and that's it. The major difference between all of these sects is the way you interpret a lot of things from the Quran. So what I do is, like, for myself, I would read whatever is in there, and I would pick from different sects. So there are a lot of things I do which probably would agree from the Sunni sect, and there are a lot of things I do which, like, disagree with the Sunni sect or would agree from the Shia sect. So I pretty much, like, pick and choose what I think is, like, the best thing that makes the most sense to me. I think most of the myths have something to do with Islam or other countries somewhere in the world, but the main problem is, like, with all those myths is that Islam is generalized a lot. If you talk to anyone who does not have any knowledge of the Islamic world, the whole notion that there is an Islamic world or a Muslim world out there, I just think that is wrong, and that is the reason for all these myths to exist. Like, what I can mention which really bothers me is, like, a lot of things are said against the rights of women, and I do agree that's a huge issue in a lot of Muslim countries. But I can tell you, the city I was grown up in, there's absolutely, like, nothing, because I watched my mom, my sister, and a lot of my friends, they had absolutely no problems. Like none of them actually wore a hijab, but, like, the ones who do, like, no one really forced them. I think it's very easy for an American living in the US to conceive, like, whatever they think about the Muslim world, like, as a very uniform thing across the whole world. But just, like, please forget the notion that there is a Muslim world out there. There are Muslims living in different countries throughout the world. There are different countries, there are different cultures out there.
Actually, I'm an American Muslim. I'm not born overseas. I embraced Islam some time ago, say in 1980s, and I find it's a very good answer for some of my issues. In America, here, there's many problems, and Islam solves them, whether it is drug problems, alcohol problems, and also get to meet various people from different countries, and we communicate and we share our ideas, and I familiarize them with the American culture, and they familiarize me with Islam. Now, there's a percentage of Muslims in America. I couldn't give you the exact percent, but it's not as numerous as other places around the world, such as Asia, Africa. So the input from other people, from other countries, is very important, so we could get a correct understanding of the Islamic faith. Islam is not a violent religion. It's a religion of peace, and it supports moral excellence, family, These are the things that interest me.
We all have a certain type of experience with a mythological Islam, which seems to be sort of primarily coming to us through media that represents Islam as a kind of violent religion. And I think that it's really unfortunate that most Americans get their perception of what Islam is through a media which is quite biased in the way that it represents many things, including the Muslim faith. I mean, I think that it's, we don't want to oversimplify the way that media operates in America. There's a diversity of perspectives out there, but it does seem to me that the dominant ones, the ones that provide many Americans with their perspectives on the world, tend to focus and their coverage on the what you would have to call sort of the most negative aspects of Islam. My own religious faith is the Baha'i faith, founded on the principles of the oneness of humanity, most importantly, and also the oneness of religion, secondarily. I think sort of the primary difference that would be sort of most easily identifiable is that Baha'is follow the revelation or the teachings of Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah was practicing the Shia faith in Iran in his youth, and eventually declared himself to be an independent manifestation of God. And therefore, Baha'is believe fully in the revelation of Muhammad and in the Quran as a holy text. However, we also believe that the revelation of Baha'u'llah is the most recent one from divinity, and therefore we follow the teachings of Baha'u'llah. I think that because of the difficulties that face any sort of minority group in any place, in any culture, any nation, I'm particularly sort of attuned to and sympathetic to the difficulties of my Muslim brothers, here in the U.S. And I think if there was a simple statement that I would sort of extend to them is that you are my brother, and I believe, that we are part of this one human family, and that within America we happen to be residing in the same nation, and I consider you sort of my equal, my partner, and a member of my family, my brothers and sisters.
I encourage people to seek diversity and to always question and be critical of what you find. I think it's so important to answer and ask questions because it tells you a lot about yourself and more about other people. In terms of what else to take away, I really do think the value of a personal story is incredible because so much of religion, so much of culture, it rests on truly human beings. And when you have a personal story, it changes your outlook on so many things, and it changes your outlook on an issue. I would, just remind people to be human and remember that everybody else is human too.
Religions Without Borders believes that terrible acts of religious extremism obscure the crucial role that religion plays in the healthy functioning of societies throughout the globe. It is our desire to rebuild and create bonds of trust between members of all faiths through dialogue and understanding. We believe this is necessary to bring us all together with a common goal of humanitarianism and mutual respect.